USC, to me, really is having an issue with their identity of running the ball or passing the ball. You've heard all the fans talking constantly about why aren't we running the ball more when the offensive line seems like it's really built more for running the ball than is offense. And yes, you have to look at, what are you looking at as far as the numbers in the box? What are you running up against? But it wasn't like they were putting a bunch of guys in the box. It wasn't like it was a heavy box and they couldn't run it. And I don't understand why USC can't commit to the run when that's really what they're meant to do. Get creative with the run. Maybe run some screenplays. I mean, people are freaking out the screenplays, but for whatever reason, throwing the ball down the field in this game, and especially in the first half, was killing USC. And I'm curious, I get to the chat if someone wants to join that way as well. I'm going to have to reset the phone line right here because this is simply not working. Well, what are your thoughts on that, LB?
Well, Tim, I've tried to defend Lincoln Riley, and that part I can't defend. And I think that's the stubborn part about him as a coach. And the reason why I say that is because you got to identify who you have as a quarterback, right? And, he's had his moments where he's done good, but you can't have him throwing 50 times. He's going to make a mistake. He's proven that week after week. So you're going to have to lean on your running game a lot more. Woody ran for 22. I think I did 22 and 123. 22 rushes for 123 yards, I believe, tonight. So he was doing really well. Joyner had 6 rushes for 38 yards. So those guys were really doing well. Now, what you have to do, like he did in the second half, he started scheming better, started getting better runs. He definitely started running well on that right side with, Alani Noah and, of course, Mason Murphy. That was looking good. I think he was pulling Jonah Monheim on that, and that run was looking really, really good. So, to me, that's where he had to start using the run. So that's where, to me, he can use that to help out, the quarterback a little bit more. And that's where, to me, he dropped the ball because you've got to run those guys. If they're really doing well, there's been quite a few games where we've all said it, like run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. But I think with his history of quarterbacks, I think he's kind of stubborn and it's hard to change up. And that's where, Tim, I have to agree with you in this aspect. That's what shows your chops as a coach. You're able to adjust based on the roster that you have. And so through that, you're able to see, okay, these are the strengths and these are the weaknesses. I can't do what I did with Caleb and Kyler and all these other guys. I can't do that with this quarterback in this offense. So we're going to probably have to lead heavily on the run. Miller's going to probably have to pass for maybe 23 times. And we're going to have to split up the runs, 22 for Woody Marks, then maybe 10 or 12 or 15 for Joyner. And maybe throw out Jackson in that as well. So you're going to probably have to lean on that because you got to identify your strengths and weaknesses for your team.
Yeah, and they threw the ball well. I mean, Lemon, again, when he blew past that guy, it really opened up. The crazy thing is Miller almost threw for 300 yards. Granted, he threw the ball how many times? 50 times. 50 times. If you throw the ball 50 times, you're going to have interceptions. I mean, you might as well just get ready for that because that's what happens when you throw the ball that many times against a defense. Guys, this is no joke. This defense is solid defense, and the fact that Belichick had those guys ready. Steve Belichick had those guys ready for USC. Their second, it's not like this is the first game they had this great defense. This has been going on all season, and it's one of the better ones. I was thinking, well, no, maybe it's just because of the teams they played. They played one says basically, you had that kid up at Washington State who's tearing it up against everyone. He did well, but I was thinking, no, it's just down to the competition. It's really just down to the competition. But apparently it's not. Apparently it's not down to the competition because they are struggling. They're having difficulty really taking care of that and taking care of the ball. So it'll be interesting to see that and see if USC can fix it going forward because as of now, it's just really it's been an issue.
He's been coaching games for 3 years now. And he's a good coach. Obviously, he has a good resume. That's the reason why I was so excited whenever he first got to USC. What do you think actually goes through his head whenever he's seeing things work, but he doesn't use them in the first half? Like, everyone knew he had weeks to prepare for this game, at least, a week. And everyone knew, Washington's defense is good at the pass, defending the pass. Why the hell is he not running the ball in the first half?
LB?
That's a valid point, man. You're not wrong about that. We've all been saying that. And I think a lot of times Lincoln kind of gets into his ego.
He has weeks. Come on, bud. Go ahead, LB.
No, I think sometimes Lincoln gets into his ego, right? He trusts and believes in what the plays that he calls. He has certain things schemed up, and he probably feels like he can out scheme the defense. But I have to agree with you. I mean, that's where he dropped the ball at, because in the second half, we started scorching him with the run game. I mean, Marks was 22 for 123.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I'm like, what does he not see, though? He's a coach, man. He gets paid millions of dollars to see this shit.
Okay, hold on. One more thing also is,
it hurts my head.
One more thing also is that sometimes Miller pulls it. It is a run play. He could hand it off, and it's not there. It's a simple math situation, you know. And he has a key, and he reads the key, and then he keeps it instead of running it, and they throw the ball. I mean, that's just what they do. But I agree. I think everyone here, and I think everyone agrees in going to the game. But also, one thing about game planning is you might go into the game with a plan, but you think that you think that defense is going to stay static and not throw curveballs at you. So that's what it is. They came out in the second half. If you look on defense and offense, they won the second half. The problem is that they ran out of time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? The problem is where were they in the first half? I've been saying this again and again and again. I said the key to win this game. I said it on 3 different shows. Get out fast, because I thought there'd be a big Husky crowd. Get out fast and take the crowd out of it. They did the opposite. Again, three and out, missed field goal, interception. That's how you start the game. And it's not just this game. Even LSU against Michigan. You know, when have we ever, especially on the road, when has SC played close to 4 quarters on the road? If you want to go after Riley, that's where you go after Riley. That's my biggest beef.
I think the issue is
we come out flat.
Like I said, Riley and Miller. Like I said, I know. Like I said, the next call I got to get on, but I mean, I know you guys watched the game. Miller almost threw 5 interceptions. 2 interceptions really should have been caught. The 2 people from Washington missed. The balls were in their hands. My solution, you know, and then I'll log off. We need a coach, like I said. I just feel like we need a coach that gets involved. Like I said, gets fired up, shoots people out, like old Nick Saban, like gets in their face. That brings momentum to the team. And then 2, I think we just need to get rid of Miller Moss.
One back over 5.5 yards, another over 6. Why did they pass the ball 50 times? It's not running just to run. It's running because it works. In the first half, they didn't run enough. But when they did run, they were getting stopped. It wasn't working in the first half. For whatever reason, they couldn't get out of their own way on either throwing or passing really in the first half. It was a mess, you know? So maybe the passing opening up the running, they came out in that third quarter running like mad fools, and they were ready to do it. And they did a great job blocking and run blocking. Great question. I wish they'd run more. Absolutely. My untrained eye said, why are we running the ball more?
Hey, my name's Mike from Louisiana, and appreciate taking my call. Enjoy the show, guys.
Appreciate you calling in.
I had a couple things thanks. A couple things I just wanted to mention today, and I thought that situationally we had issues, obviously, and I mean, other folks have talked about the rushing the ball in the first half. I thought in the second half we had a couple situational issues where we passed and we should have run, and I'll go to 2 points really. We had the ball up 21-20. We got the ball at, I want to say, around the 40-yard line. We rushed it for 5 yards with Woody on first down. And then on second down, we threw the ball. And up until that point, the past 2 drives, we had kind of crammed it down the throat, running the ball. And we're quick to go away from that run there. And I feel like what's happening is, and I could be wrong here, but I feel like this is playing into tendencies, and teams are daring us to run the ball. We run it for 5 yards, and we're throwing it on second down, and nothing's open. We get an incomplete pass, and then on third down, we throw the interception. So, and we just run it 2 more times there, we probably get a first down. We had so much success running. It was the first time we didn't have like a 10-yard run, and we got 5 instead. And then the next drive, we get it again. We run it down the throat all the way down to the 5-yard line, and on first down, we run it. I think we got 1.5, 2 yards down to the 3, and we throw it on second down. And the other folks have mentioned that tonight too. I know I'm not the only one saying that. And then on third down, we bring in the heavy package. We run it as another 1.5, 2 yards down to the 1. And we come out of that heavy package and start spreading the field a bit. And Washington's still inside, packed. I would like to have seen us just go to that heavy package a third straight time. Stay in tight. We got positive yards. We'd only needed 1 more yard. And I think someone said earlier tonight, if we just run it 4 straight times, we got positive yards on all but that last one. And something else I noticed on that last run where the guy shot the gap, and he was unblocked. But
yeah,
we had issues with this last year too. We're running the play clock down to 0 right before we snap that, and it allows the defender to time that snap and shoot that gap more easily.
Yeah, I thought with the, I think you nailed all those points. You know, it'd
Great
be
call,
nice.
great call,
It just
great
seems
call.
like it takes a long time to get the call in. Do you know what I mean? And then for Miller to get the call out to everyone.
Yeah.
And like you said, the clock's running down, and they're just taking off on the play clock, because either they're gonna you know, get the jump, or it's gonna be a delay of game. So why not jump on that if you have the opportunity when the clock's going out? It happens way too much. I'm trying to remember, because we had to come live. Actually, I think we were live actually at that point. It looked like so it was a safety, right? Was that a safety up in the there? Like he shot the A gap, wasn't that where he went? Or was it B gap?
Looked like a safety or a small linebacker.
Yeah, small linebacker or safety. He was up there, and it just looked like the lineman just didn't block. I think it was because Monheim was right there. So I mean, it just looked like a missed call by the blocking protection.
Yeah.
And either Miller or Jonah, you know, they have to see that guy was unaccounted for. They should have known that guy was unaccounted for right in front of them. That's the head scratcher. But how do we know? I mean, I shouldn't do that, because maybe Miller and Jonah called out that protection and the guard blew it. I mean, you don't know. That's what we try to put blame on people, and we don't know where the blame is, because we don't know what was supposed to be done. But it was,
and you know, I think even going back to the first. Sorry, good.
Well, I'm just saying, run the damn ball 4 times. Someone early on said that. Just keep it simple.
Yeah, and I thought the same thing in the first half. You know, and the drive where we kicked the field goal, well, I think we threw an incompletion on second down, or maybe we threw an incompletion on first down, ran on second down. I think we had it 3rd and 4, and we're in the extent of field goal range. We're getting rain. Our kickers, he's made some long kicks, but it's not been a gimme, you know, from 50 yards for sure. And just run the ball twice there and pick up 4 yards. We're in 4 down territory, but instead we throw it on 3rd down, and then we're left kicking a 50-yard field goal in a late rain, and we're short. And I just, you know, it worked out on the drive where we threw the 4th down touchdown pass, but I felt like on that one, the same sort of thing. We were running the ball okay, and we set ourselves up for a 4th down that we're going to go for, but we didn't really run the ball. But anyways, I think we got some of that corrected in the second half by running, but just in key situations, we go away from the run, and I think it's almost predictable. I think it's our tendency. If we don't get, you know, an 8-10 yard run on first down, we have a tendency to go right back to the pass, even after a 5-yard run. And I think it plays into our tendencies. And I think we mentioned earlier tonight about the drives. I looked it up later. 10 of the 11 drives were in plus territory for the game.
Yeah, the first
and the
8.
only one that wasn't was the interception at the 45-yard line. Remember the interception he threw when we had the ball up 21-20? I just mentioned that drive. That was the only one we didn't get into plus territory, and we were at the 45.
You know, a big word, and
we only scored 21 points.
A big word that I've heard a lot. It was also, I was on with Coach Rowe over the other day, and he said when it came to Pete Carroll, one of their big mantras or themes or whatever it was finish.
Finish. I was about to say
finish
that.
Drives, and you finish drives, and you finish games. You finish the half, and you finish drives, and you finish the game.
Tim, if you see a lot of old pictures of like Brian Cushing, those guys, they had those T-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
It said finish on.
Yeah, Coach Rowe was talking about that. He said as a freshman he couldn't. Anyway, yeah. So you. What's the other thing? You know, good coaches win. Great coaches cover. No, I'm just kidding. No, you win close games. Do you know what I mean? You got to win close games. That's how you really judge your coaching staff. Is you're in a dogfight, you're on the road. Are you going to win? And winning on the road, we're not saying that winning on the road is easy. It's not. But all of them, you know, at some point you're like,
right.
All of them?
Yeah.
And kind of like almost the same way. And we kind of start the same way. I mean, how many games this year in the first couple of drives we've missed a field goal? I mean, that just seems like it's a thing we do. And when you're on the road and listen, you made a good point. It's in the rain, it's a long field goal, etc. But it just seems like this team doesn't finish. And they are so close. And like many callers have said, you know, there's no reason to throw the baby without the bathwater. This team is close to being very successful. But what is it going to take to get there? Because I know you fans are tired of it. I'm tired of it, of hearing that we're so close. Because at some point, you got to get home. You got to finish. And that's what's missing on this team. And listen, Mike, great call. Really, really appreciate you calling in. We got to move on. But
Mike, great call, Mike. Great call.
Great points, man.
Yeah,
really
thanks,
great
guys.
points. Thanks, man. Fight on.